Hey guys, Steve here. Today we got a new Pick a Premium for you. You guys voted on the last edition of Pick a Premium. The ship you picked was the Hood, Tier 6 British Battleship, Battle Cruiser. We got Andy Cunningham on the screen there. That's the ship build. And the map, Crash Zone Domination Mode. How Pick a Premium works, you go into the comments section of this video, you pick one premium ship, you write it down in the comments field, hit enter, that'll be your vote. Then I'll tally them up. Whatever ship gets the most votes, that'll be the next edition. Grash B came in second. You guys are getting close. It's got a dedicated voting block supporting it. Anyway, we spawn in the middle here. Crash Zone, it's quite profitable, as we're going to do in this game. We're going to actually we're going to have a ship capture their home cap. You can see each team starts with a cap. One of our destroyers, presumably, or someone's going to go down there, capture that early. A lot of those ships that spawn on the eastern side of the map usually come over here because this is where the action tends to be. But I think the profit lies on that eastern side. If you can flip that home cap, it's a nice start to the win, or to the game at least. We're expecting a fight over here though. We got a lot of destroyers in this match. Going to be a lot of destroyer shooting going on. Rundown on the Hood, highest HP at the tier. I got it all the way up to 71.3 on mine. That's with the hide influencing the bit. 381s, 4x2, just 1 millimeter bigger than the Gneisenau, so take that, Germany. Good speed, 28.8. This is a super cruiser, battle cruiser, cruiser bruiser, whatever you want to call it. Decent heal. You know, it's not quite the super heal, but it's kind of above average. Good sonar. Sometimes when I play the ship, I forget it, but we're going to be using it this game. Sometimes I see people spamming HE in the ship. I've been doing damage per minute charts, and this is actually the second lowest HE damage per minute at the tier for battleships. Not a great fire chance either, so leave the HE at home. This is kind of an AP specialist type of a ship. Take a look at that Gneisenau, well angled there. We're going to aim towards the superstructure. These are short fuse British shells, and even there with a good angle on the Gneisenau, which is a hard ship to damage when it's angled, we had some decent damage, but cruisers, broadside, major danger from this thing. Battleships, if you get broadside shots, we don't get a lot of them this game. This is more of a interesting game, tight finish, back and forth type of a game. Much more interesting in my opinion, but I had other battleship, blasting games. If you're shooting battleships, they're broadside, aim mid-ship, you're going to be getting 10 to 20k salvo. So this thing pumps out a lot of damage if you're aiming it properly, but keep the AP loaded there. Destroyer up ahead launches a widespread at that York that salvo's going to make it all the way back to us, but of course widespreads aren't going to hit anything, so that's a pretty clear miss. Accuracy-wise, the ship's pretty good. It's not quite as good as the Warspite, but in general, British battleships, at least for the most part, up until Tier 7, are pretty accurate. This one's definitely up there in terms of accuracy. So, again, to reiterate, keep the AP loaded. Adjust the aim points. Aim higher on the ship into the superstructure, upper hull. If they're angled, you can't punch through the hull. If they're broadside, middle of the ship on battleships, waterline at the cruisers, and you'll be getting a lot of success. So here we go, diving into this game a little bit more. We got this Gneisenau now. He's been terrorizing this York. We kind of have a pretty distinct advantage, it seems to me, numerically over here, but we're going to have some issues, let's just put it that way. Two interesting things to note on the map right now. We are flipping their home cap. That's not only are we adding some income to our income stream, but we're snatching it away from the enemy. So double whammy there, always really potent. And then keep an eye on that battleship. You see him all the way in the white line to the north. Now, he had two ships trailing him. One of them is going to disengage and get back into the game. But when this game was over, I was trying to figure out how the red battleship gets so far out of position. He ends up chasing this kiting battleship for, we'll find out, pretty much the entirety of the match. That's not quite as an effective play when you only have one ship chasing you. If you're trying to kite ships into the nether regions of the universe, it's more effective if you get multiple ships chasing you. One-on-one, you're essentially taking yourself out of the game, but you're also taking the enemy battleship or whatever the enemy ship is out of the game. So it's kind of an even trade in that manner. if you're going to be kiting one ship, normally if you can kite them towards your supporting fire, that's the more effective play there. But those are kind of the interesting thing that's going on the other side of the map. Our York, which I was desperately hoping was going to get at least one of these destroyers down, he got torped by their Maws. So it's me and Roma, I believe, behind me here against 3 destroyers for sure in this region. Or the Maws, we got a Udachi, and then I think there's one more that's unspotted, but I think it's like an Akatsuki or something buzzing our back line. So there's going to be a lot of torpedo threats over here. Initially, I was trying to get around on this Maz. Now, I do have him sonared currently. Udachi pops up. I think he's in the sonar range as well. Trying to hold the shot to get the full salvo cleared. Of course, the back turrets do clip the rock there. But I needed to start this turn. You can see we slammed on the brakes, and we're doing as hard of a turn as possible. We can assume when he was coming in for that suicide torp run that he was just going to launch them at the indicator. You can see there is pretty easy to dodge once we just assumed that they were in the water, but again, because we needed to take that evasive maneuver, didn't get the full salvo off. He lives to fight another day. The Roma behind us, not quite in a great position yet to be shooting these things. I'm going to be spamming the commands a little bit, say shoot these guys. He is going to get some nice shots off, and this is really effective. There's 2 secrets to our success this game. Like, right about now, I'm looking at the map thinking, oh, I don't really see a win in the cards just because of how oddly positioned our team is. But we got a couple secret weapons. Number 1, myself and my teammates are willing to shoot the destroyers. Number 2, we're going to see at the end that we actually have a destroyer player that's playing to win, which is a major bonus. You don't see that very often. Usually destroyers are there to get one salvo off at a battleship and then die in a suicide run. Maz comes around here. We have the HE loaded. Blast away, and on to the next for him. Of course, we do have the Udachi in the area. We can assume, when I was playing, I assumed that was the Udachi that spotted it, and there he was. I wasn't 100% sure because we do have 2 more destroyers kind of loose in the wild. But once again, slam on the brakes, turn in. Let's see if he learned his lesson. Now, that's going to cut us down to the front 2 turrets. I was hoping that was going to be enough here. We do catch him. We wait for the turn right there. I should have aimed it just a smidge more to the left. We catch him with 1 shell. Not quite enough to blast him away, though. This is no King George when it comes to the HE stopping power. Again, we're more used to shooting AP in the ship. But nevertheless, good follow-up from our teammate there to sink him. Now we're going to go ahead and move into this cap. We are getting currently spotted here. It's not the ships that are spotted to the east. It's, of course, one of these destroyers. Might be the one on A. We're not 100% sure, but we're going to move in position, see if we can drop spot when our position changes a little bit. I'd love to flip this cap. You can see they're pressuring A, and they have a cruiser over there moving into B. So things could be a little dicey here when it comes to the old score. You can see we're up pretty big right now, and that's because we captured their home cap. So we had 2 caps to 0 for quite a while. But then, of course, they added this cap to their income stream, and now they're flipping our home cap. So this game's going to be pretty tightly contested all the way to the end. And us securing this cap is going to be one of the reasons that we have a low damage, high score game at the end. But don't want to lose sight of this. Now, evaluating the situation, we got 1 destroyer. I don't think I've checked the roster, but it ends up being a Minsk. And usually, a lot of the Russian DD players, it's a very hard class of ship to play, and I don't usually consider the ones that I see roaming around in the wild to be that reliable. But like we mentioned earlier, this guy's actually doing a pretty good job. You can see he's currently located in between the 2 home caps there. He's doing a pretty good job spotting. But you can see he's getting a little fearful for his life. He's got the Hipper behind him. And of course, we mentioned earlier how dangerous and fear-inducing those German cruisers are to these destroyers. And Russian destroyers, not great concealment. So he's probably booking it out of there. He could very easily be tempted to get in this gunfight. Now, they have a Benson, I want to say, and maybe a Akatsuki, or... yeah, I'm pretty sure it's an Akatsuki. I believe that's the lineup over there. He could very easily get enticed into getting into a close quarters gun duel with them, but you can see both of those destroyers are likely in the same position over there. So he does a pretty good job in terms of decision making, and kind of lives to fight another day. And that battleship, by the way, is the one that spawned over there. He's the one that we were talking about earlier, kiting all around. So he's still at it. I don't know. I mean, maybe there was something more effective for him to do, but nevertheless, everything works out for the best here at the end of the game. Looking for some shots on these destroyers. I'm not 100% sure how they're all being spotted here, but unfortunately we got the island blocking us. We do have a shot at the Char North. It's going to be a blind fire shot, but currently we are closing in on the Hipper. Now we are aware of the Hipper's torpedo threat. Of course he wants us to rush right around the edge of that island and hit us with a double salvo of torpedoes, ending the game and ending our game and probably the team's game as well. We're not going to quite fall for that. I'm hoping he's a little careless and we can catch him coming around broadside here. We're going to get one good shot, at least in my mind at this point in time. You know, usually if a player is going to play well, as this guy actually is, he's going to do a really good job. But if they're going to make one mistake, it's usually right off the bat when they're either not sure what you're going to do or they're still figuring out how they want to play it. So I got the AP loaded here. We are aware that there's destroyer threats, and sure, we were getting spotted by one there. We're not 100% sure which one it is at this point in time. But there one pops up. I think it's that Benson chasing our Minsk. Now he's going to, and there's torpedoes, by the way. He's going to actually launch some torps at him. Close range torps. I'm like, what are you doing, man? He's low. Just shoot him with your guns. Of course, he is blasting with the guns. So good play there. I'm not 100% sure if those were Hipper torps or the destroyer's torps, especially when I was playing it. But I think it ends up being the destroyer most likely. There was kind of what I was talking about. The Hipper did come around the island. He was angled, but pretty broadside. Now, it's going to be a hard ship to Citadel that close a range. It is a pretty good turtleback. You can see here, who are we aiming at, guys? That's right, the destroyer. At least when he's popped up there. Late game, destroyers that are alive can win and lose games. And take a look at the map up north. Speaking of winning and losing games, he's not going to come in first on the scoreboard, but we lose this game without this play to the Minsk. So we did a good job taking that other destroyer off the board. And of course, Benson is an effective destroyer hunter. Almost, well, not almost certainly has twist and track, but I would run twist and track if I was on that ship. And he took him out. Then he got on the cap. And Akatsuki, you know, is not the best aimed torp salvo. I mean, it's fine. We dodged it. Maybe he got a little frustrated. Maybe he was trying to set us on fire, thinking he was going to get us to force or use the damage con and then hit us with some torps. Regardless, he's shooting the guns. We're shooting at him. I'm letting the secondaries at least start to work on this Hipper. We're angled against him. I don't want him wrecking me with the guns. But as long as this guy's going to keep shooting, I'm going to take my time with the Hipper. We're going to keep blasting this guy. Now, he probably saw the first salvo. He's like, okay, this guy can't aim. We shot behind him, so he might have been getting a little overconfident there. Not going to happen twice. We get him pretty good there, but he's still going, so we're going to have to load up another one again. Remaining angled to this Hipper as best we can. He is faster than us, so of course he's gaining. What's he trying to do? Of course he's trying to torp. We know that. Akatsuki drops spot there, though. He kind of wised up. We can assume he's probably launching torps at this point in time. Well, at least we should be. But it's very hard in this instance if that thing remains undetected, because this Hipper is close enough to me and he's an existential threat at this point in time. So my attention has to be focused on him. At least almost all players would continue to focus on him. He launches the first set. Now we're angled already pretty well towards those, so we're just going to swing back. We are going to take one. We take another one, and we almost turn into the third one, which could have been catastrophic. We do have the damage con. A little late to the party on here, but again, the guns. You know, I'm not going to try and pick on this player, but this is a straight-up throw, my friend. This is a loss. 100% on this guy. I don't think they lose this game if he keeps those guns silent. But he's trying to pile on here. He saw the flood, or he saw the torps hit, and he assumed there was a flood. Tried to get the fire. Cost him the life. Hipper's coming around. He flips sides like a fish. Those Germans, when they flip around like that, you can assume they got the other side's torps. We turn hard, and we dodge the first one. If you turn really hard like that when they're aimed at you, accounting you for going straight, sometimes you can dodge them. He held on to that second salvo, though, like a wise player, and that was a pretty well-played sequence, so I think that player likely knows what he's doing. But holding on to that second one, he saw that we did that hard turn maneuver there, and lined it up to take that into account. Took us out. But look at this. The Minsk on the cap. We have 3 caps now. Their battleship last seen several years ago In fact, he was so far out of position that entire game. And again, I don't know if the battleship made a great play at kiting him that far out of course, but he essentially, was outside of, if you draw an oval around the caps, which is usually what I consider to be the the impactful zone of these domination mode games. He never actually entered that zone. So we'll give him props for that kiting. Major props to the Minsk. Well played there. We didn't necessarily highlight the damage potential of this, but I thought that was a pretty interesting game. So hopefully you guys did enjoy that one. If you did, please hit the thumbs up. If you're new to the channel, consider subscribing. Lots of World of Warships coming all the time. Questions? Comments? Leave them below. Love to hear from you guys, and we'll see y'all later. Peace.